Good afternoon. Welcome to the BizCubed weekly webinar series. My name is Neeraj Khurana. I hope you can see my screen clearly. Now we are looking at a Pentaho user control, but before I get into that, I'll start with the topics how we're going to cover up. We're going to start with an introduction of Pentaho user control. We'll go what kind of reports we can build, what are the different data sources we can use to develop these reports, and how we can link these reports with each other. Now basically Pentaho user control provides three basic types of reporting. One is interactive reporting, analyzer reports, and dashboards. Interactive reporting covers up as traditional reporting needs, where you can customize it according to business needs, add images, add a logo, and we can customize the whole report as per the business needs. With Analyzer, it's more of a pivotal reporting. It's the most used reporting tool in business analysis. Now, if I start in here, it gives you, if you click on that, it just asks you for the what data source you're gonna be used. But before we get into that, I will just introduce the look and feel of the Pentaho user control. Now on my top left corner, we have the File, View, Tools menu. With the File menu, you can create new analysis view, dashboard, interactive report, analyzer report, and a data sources. We can manage data sources. With View, it allows us whether you want to have a browser view, you have a workspace view. We'll get back to that later. You can change the themes and the languages. With the tools, which is majorly for admin purpose, is for clearing out cache and other refreshing system settings to make sure that we get the new data. Now, before we get into that, we'll start with the data sources. Now, to create a new data source, now Pentaho actually allows us for any business user or any business analyst to actually connect to database directly without having an in-depth knowledge of the database tables. Now, if we look at select source type options in Pentaho user control, we can get CSV file, SQL query, and database tables. Pentaho does come as an out-of-box capability to include Excel files or CSV or text files as an input for the data sources. Now, if you select CSV files, it just asks you for which part, and it automatically include all the columns and the notes. We can also review, file preview, see what the data we are getting, and we can move forward. With SQL query, we have the capability to connect or create any database connection. We can connect to all sorts of databases directly from here, and we can run customized SQL queries. We can connect, we can join two tables, we can link two or more tables, run a query, run where clause, and we can customize any SQL query to generate our own data. Also, we have a third option, which is called database tables. Now, database tables actually allows us, when we know that which tables we are extracting data from. Going forward with database tables, Pentaho also gives us an option if we want to use this data source connection for reporting only and reporting and analysis only. Now, the difference between reporting and analysis is reporting and analysis using a star schema. It uses multi-dimensional tables where we have fact table and the dimension tables. For people who don't know what is multi-dimensional star schema, I'll just give a bit of an introduction. It's a specialized schema which is designed for reporting purpose, for business reporting purpose, and the way it interacts with tables is very different from traditional databases. From different databases. Now, for reporting and analysis, we basically use MDX queries at the back end, but we don't have to have a knowledge of MDX queries. We can use we can use the table connection, and Pentaho allows us to connect tables. It's the same. Let me give you an example just to make it easy. Let me just select sample data, give it a name, webinar test. We select the data source, we select reporting, analyzing, we can hit on next. Now, it automatically reads all the tables from the database using this database connection. We can select. Let's assume we need some customer information, so we select. We go for order details. We select order fact, and we go for time dimension. Now, pretty much that's all the information I need to select. Now, over here, because we are using a star schema has basically a fact table and a dimension tables. A fact table is more of a measuring quantity. So if I give you an example, if a business wants to know how many sales it did for each country and by each customer, in that scenario, customers and country became the dimensions, and the measurement that the number of sales that we are counting or amount of sales we are counting comes in a fact table. Now, a user must aware that which fact table is going to be using. Now, let's assume it's an auto fact. Going forward, over here, Pentaho defines you with the fields and the times that you can join these two fields. Now, because I'm not using Hibernate database in here, which is my default database, it's not showing me the column fields in here. Going back in here, if I show you that one I already created in here, steel wheel sales, which comes as a default database connection. Now, before I move into this complex screen over here, I'll just introduce a bit of it. On the left side, we see all the columns that we have selected. Now, if I just change the view by measure, so these measures, so we are calculating quantity and sales, and the levels defines the dimension. Now, and then there is a time. So basically, now we are using. Go for the category, we are using 4 different dimensions: order status, product, time dimension, markets, and customer. And we are calculating quantity and sales, which become the facts. Now, Pentaho does have a capability to auto customize this default view, and it generates this data model for you. On the second tab, we see the layout. Now, this layout describes what you need in a report. Your low level is your x-axis and your column is your y-axis, and then there is your measures. But in the center part, you see your data, you see your reports. Now here we have very clear filters option, keep only, exclude, clear options. Then we have options between charts to move between charts and tables, and we can also view, we can also hide and show all of these tabs. If I just build a sample report out of it, all you have to do is to double click on this. Now it automatically, because it is a measure, Pentaho analyzed and Pentaho because it is a measure, Pentaho just put it in a measure column. So if I try to put quantity in a columns on a row, Pentaho does not allow, because it identified this as a measure, and measure has to go in a measure column. So it's automatically done. Other than that, if I look for the customer details, it automatically, it's a drag and drop functionality for all the business analysts and for the business users. That's been done. Now that's a basic part. It's a drag and drop functionality. It's a very basic part of building analyzer report. But before we get into details, more deeper level of analyzer reports, let me just introduce basic all 3 levels of reporting that Pentaho comes with. So we can define, and a business user can easily select which options he's going to go for. For the interactive reporting, if I select in here, it simply asks for the new interactive report. I'm just waiting for it to come up. In the same manner, it will ask me which data source I want to select. Let's say I want to select an human resources databases. I click on OK. Now it gives me an introduction screen, which reads as drag and drop report creation, sort filter, and group data, inline editing, customer report templates, export as PDF, Excel, CSV, or HTML. Now on my left side, as usual, we have all the columns and we have all the different fields. In the middle, we have title reports, we have drag and drops, and we have a center area where we can show our data. Now let's say I want to see all the managers. So I can double click or I can drag and drop. I can choose which I want to do. Because we already have a manager, so I'll just remove it. Now let's say I'll drop a child tree over here. Now I have a manager on this. With this option on title, if I double click on this, I can rename the report. I can drag and drop columns. On the top, I have different options that Pentaho provides us. Now it adds us to a filter option. Filter allows us to run a different kind of filters as well as string filters as well as the number filters. Now Pentaho provides two major types of filters. One is a text-based filter and another is a numeric filter. Um, the text-based filter contains non-numeric information, so you can choose to include or exclude certain values like names, etc. We can also either use include certain value or match part of the string. To give you an example, let's see, we drag this tree on our filters. Now we have two options. Either we can select from the list, which is include or exclude. Now from here we can either include Japan or exclude. We have to select the whole values of it, but sometimes we are not sure um, what's the full name and the list is too long for us to do it. So what we do, Pentaho also allows us to run conditions on your string, which is it contains a particular word, it ends with particular word, it begins with particular word, is null or is not null, and we can easily type in and you can just hit OK. And again, for this purpose, let's say I'll just include Japan. It will automatically run filter on my first. The report will auto refresh, and we can see the filters in here. With these, we have two options. One is to cancel this filter and one to edit this filter. Hitting on this cancel button will bring me back to the same folder where I can update my filter and I can update my report. That's been done. Now second issue is we have the groups and we have the columns. Now the benefits of having groups is, let's say we want to have we are calculating sales over 5 different countries, and because in each country we have different states, so we have the huge data. Let me open an example for you, so I'll just make myself more clear what I'm trying to answer. If I open a report in here, okay. Now, if we look at this, we have a territory, APAC, and we have a product vendor percentage. Now, we are grouping these reports. We are grouping on a different levels. So we are looking the same product name, scale, item scores, but to make it look nicer, we are splitting the reports by groups. Now, if I go in here, I can define groups as territory and product vendor. So what it is doing, it first grouping up the whole report by territory, then it goes and grouping up the report by product vendor, and then we can define which columns you want to appear in each one. Now this pattern repeats for the whole words. It's very easily way to create subtotals or view by particular territory or by managers or by different customers. We can easily customize and we can easily control. That's a very standard interactive reporting that's been newly launched in Pentaho 4.5, which is version I'm using on right now. Coming back to my report, which I was generating, now we have also options in here. If I have manager, I can click on this. I can run filter from here as well. I can sort the data with ascending or descending order. I can move left and right. I can run aggregations. I can run summaries. Now with summary, what options Pentaho out of the box is we can create an average of the total. We can create count, maximum, minimum, sum, and we can remove it all together, of course. That's for the standard reporting. Moving forward, if we go, oops, I'll just close this. Don't want to make any changes on the default report. Okay. Going forward on the analysis report, if I open one report I created. Now, Analyzer has the same view to make it really easy for the user. It has the same view on the left side. We have all the major columns. Then we have the layout of the report, and in the mode we can view what the report looks like. Now over here we have territory in line, and we are looking at the sales and the quantity of each data. Now this unit sales, this is a column which is not by default in status but a calculated measure. A calculated measure is basically allows us to run calculations on any of the measure. Pentaho out of the box allows us, I just right click on this, allows us to create percentage of the total running some any other calculated measure or any other trend. So if we want to see, for example, sales over the different years, or if we want to see trend of particular product over time or any other factor, we can easily define in here. We can also filter on numeric values if you want to see top 10 values, or if you want to see bottom 10 values, or if you want to see sales only for a particular limit. We can easily customize that all in here. Second option, which Pentaho provides, it is the same as we did in a grouping in interactive reporting in a previous report. We have option of subtotals in here. So with each territory, we can subtotal for it, and Pentaho creates a very nice view and very easy to view the subtotal for each of the territory, and we can easily see what is happening. And also we can add grand total. Now to have subtotals and the grand totals, what we need to do is on the top right corner where the mouse is, we go to more and we hit on report options. In report options, we have show grand totals for columns and show 12 links on images. This will come back later on this. Now show grand total columns, this will generate our grand total and its sum of the columns. For have the subtotals, all I need to do is to click on which whether I want a subtotal based on territory or I want a subtotal based on any line or any other factor. In this, because we had a subtotal based on territory, what we did is just right click on territory and click on show subtotals. So Pentaho automatically runs an MDX queries in the backend and do it all for you. The benefit of doing is that for a manager or business analyst, for any business user who wants to run a quick view of the data of the organization, Pentaho is very capable of for a very quick view of the data. It enables you to select any data source to include any CSV file, extract it into the data source, create a new data source, build a default report, and quickly drag and drop any of your reports and any of your columns to view the data and what it looks like. That's only the table view that we can create. Other than that, let's say how we calculated unit sales. Now we have the sales and the quantity. Pentaho does provide, like I said before, inbuilt functions to calculate all of these. Let me show you one of the options. If I go to edit calculate measures, I can see the Pentaho already selected two of the measures which are already in the report, sales and quantity, and we can run all sorts of different mathematical functions in here. You can write as complex as you want in here with the basic functionality of adding totals or calculating percentage or adding any numerical figures into it, and it will automatically calculate all of these, and it will automatically adjust all the figures for yourself. Now before we go into that's only the table parts. Now because let's assume that is too much information for me on a report, I'll just right click, and Pentaho does give me a capability to exclude APAC, keep only APAC, and show country. What I can do only keep only APAC. That shortens the report. I go in here on the top right corner. Now I have two options. One is table, one is chart. If I just click in here, I can select which type of chart I want to see information in. It's a quick inbuilt ready to go charts. All I have to do is to click on one chart, and Pentaho converts all that information for me. I can go back to table, I can go back to chart. It's pretty easy and pretty straightforward between two options. Whichever information I want to see, I can do that. Also, if I just scroll down, it's started very interactive. We can use drill through information, we can browse through information, we can go deeper, we can highlight stuff, and we can use all sorts of different charts. Let's assume I'll select line chart. I can see different of all sorts of information and different. I'll show you some examples that built. Just keep this to make it easy. I go back here, keep on the classy parts, show me a limited information. That's a one I can see. And we can also move back. I can also undo and redo reports. Let's say I just do hit on the undo, just normal undo functionality. We give me the chart. Now here we can see, because it's a small screen, so it's look a little bit off the track, but we can see different categories. We can see charts for each product. We can create groups, and we can change whether you want a diamond, circle, square. So for each chart, Pentaho does provide you very interactive way of viewing your information and send it to senior manager or creating it for yourself for later use. Other benefit is we can also create and send these reports in a direct URL. Now the benefit of Pentaho User Control, it is all web-based. So we can create a URL like I just created. It's actually pointing to I can send this URL in an email. I can share it via any of the cloud or any other way. I can send this URL to any other person to have this report directly visible if they have the username and the login of the report. Now we can control this. I'll come back on security part later, but Pentaho User Control is a very secure tool, and we can easily control using different LDAP securities, or we can create your own username and passwords, and we can create a very secure level or a secure level over all these reports. Coming back to the charts, just go back in, and I will close this report. Close this one. I'll show you some of the more examples of the charts that we've been using. Now with 4.5, we have also introduced heat grid, which and geomapping. Now geomapping is a very new and interactive tool, which is very it's getting catching up, getting really famous with Pentaho User Control. We can view the information. We can just like normal mapping system. We can view the information by country and by states. We can double click. We can dig deeper into the state's information, and it automatically moves and drill down the information for you. Over here, if I can go back to table, I can looking at the plans and sales, and I can go back to charts, and I can dig deeper into that. Now, because we don't have any tape information visible, it will just come out. Let me see if I can find some more information to show you. So we can actually drill down to particular cities, and we can also define latitude and longitude by particular location. We can also create customized locations for us to drive all those information. That's one of the charts. For other charts, we have area, we have pie charts. Pentaho does provide all this out of the world functionality, which we can use to view data in a different information. That's been the reporting part of the new report analysis. Dashboard is a bit critical, and it covers a lot more time. So we'll be covering a dashboard reporting in our next webinar. But before I'll try to summarize the stuff, there is another thing that is very important. I already taught you how to create a data source in Pentaho User Control. Now we can also we can easily manage our already created. There is an option in File, Manage, and we can manage these data sources here. So if I go in HR, all I have to do is to click on this pencil button. Now because these are just show you quick. Now over here I can see all my columns that are available in the table. Here I can create, I can remove. Let's see in a final report I don't want to see postal codes, so I can just remove it. So we can completely control if there are like 20 columns in a table and you only want to see 5 of them in a final reporting. We can control what information is visible on the report. We can control what type of information. We can also control the string and the level of information. We can also rename these fields, and you can change the formats. Also, because this is a simple reporting tool, if I should open up this data source. Now the difference between these two data sources, if you see, we didn't have these two options in the previous data source, which is analysis and reporting, is because while creating a data source, the previous one I only used, I'll show you again just in case you forgot. While creating a data source out of database tables, the first one was reporting only, and the second was the reporting and analysis. So when we go into manage, we can easily see the difference between two. So the first one only gave us the one, and the second one is actually allows us to define which measure we want, which dimensions we want, and what are the dimensions, what information we want. And with the measure, we can also define whether we want a sum of the value, we want an average of the value, a minimum, maximum, or we just want a count. So we can define for each of these measures, and we can customize our data model according to our needs. That's pretty straightforward of managing. Other than that, we have to show you a couple of examples going forward. Now, because we are using different heat options, now we have you can change the screens in here. These are different chart options which varies for each of charts, and we can manage all our information. And we can control what information, and we can drag and drop in here. That covers up building basic analysis and basic interactive reporting in Pentaho User Control. For more advanced version and to create dashboards, which is we'll be covering that topic, and we'll be using the analysis, reporting, and how to link them in our next webinar. So that's for me today, and that's pretty much all I have to do.